Let me get this out the way. This video is only for guys who have a business or want to start a business. It is not for someone who wants to be famous, pop off using certain trends, or go viral because of some stupid stunt. Instead, it's for those who want to make some serious amounts of money online and use content as a tool to make this money. Because in this video, I'm going to walk through 3 mistakes I see entrepreneurs making when trying to make content online, and when you fix these 3 things, results like this become the norm. Now, the first mistake that I see a lot of online content creators making is copying bigger influencers. So let me tell you a personal story from my life which will tie nicely into this mistake that a lot of guys are making. So a couple of years ago, I decided that I wanted to start a self-improvement channel because I had made some changes in my life. I had got in better shape, I had become better with women, I'd become better socially, and I thought, hey, why not share my knowledge online? And I started to just share my knowledge, tell my stories, and it started doing quite well. I gained, a couple of 100 subscribers here and there, a couple of 1,000 views here and there on random videos, and it was going okay. And then I decided that, okay, I want to take this to the next step. How do I get better? How do I make better videos? So naturally, as someone who didn't really have any idea what he was doing, I started to look at the biggest accounts in my niche, so the biggest guys in self-improvement. And one guy that stood out, you may or may not know him, he's a pretty famous self-improvement YouTuber. His name is Hamza. I think he has the most subscribers in the kind of self-improvement niche. So I looked at this guy Hamza and I thought, okay, he's getting thousands, tens of thousands, if not millions of views on every single video. Let me just copy what he does. So I started to edit like him, I started to tell my stories like him, I started to get all the clips that I found online and the way that I presented information in the exact same way that he did. And guess what happened? I didn't even get a fraction of the views that he got. In fact, subscribers and people who liked my content started to actually leave my channel because they didn't like the way that my channel was going. And it was obvious why in hindsight, but at the time I was thinking to myself, how is this possible? How can I copy someone with so many more subscribers than me and get not their results? I couldn't fathom this fact. And this is the harsh reality for a lot of people. By copying the bigger accounts, you are actually putting yourself in danger. You're actually harming your own channel, because a big thing about YouTube and becoming successful, or at least making a lot of money, is the authenticity side. It's the side of you telling personal stories or having your own little, unique flip on things. So there's a couple of things I see a lot of beginners doing, and the first one is copying bigger YouTubers' thumbnails. So, for example, a good one in the business niche is Alex Hormozi. You can look at his thumbnails and it'll just be a picture of his face with a little bit of text, and he'll say something like, do the hard work, or invest in this, or stop making this mistake. And you look at these videos and you'll see that they have hundreds of thousands of views, and you think, okay, let me just copy his thumbnail, instead have my face and maybe change the lettering a little bit. Now, unfortunately, this doesn't work, because the only reason that gets so many views and that thumbnail works for him is because of who he is, because he already has that audience, he already has the leverage, he already has the people that are going to be commenting on his video and liking the video and reaching out to him and sharing the video. He's already built this pre-based platform, and by copying his thumbnail, you're not even going to get a fraction of the results. So what should you do instead? Well, instead you should test and compare your own sort of thumbnails. You should come up with your own ideas, add your own spin on popular thumbnails. And a good way to do this is to look at what your inspirations or the big people in your niche now were doing when they were at the start. So instead of just copying the exact thumbnail, title for title, word for word, picture for picture, instead of doing that, you want to look at, okay, what were they doing when they were in my situation, which, whatever your situation is now, maybe you're a beginner, maybe you're an intermediate, whatever your situation is, look at where they were when they were in your situation, and look at the type of thumbnails and the type of titles and the type of YouTube videos that they were making back then, and then take the philosophies from this. So what did they talk about? What was the editing style like? What was the thumbnail style like? Was it clickbaity? Was it to go viral? Was it very specific? Was it no editing? Was it high amounts of editing? Look what they did when they were in your position and take the philosophies and the principles from that and add it to what you are currently doing. You're way better off doing that than just, copying what they're doing right now, because what they're doing right now usually only works because of the brand and the leverage that they've set up in the past. Another good example that I like to use here, let me just pull the point back across and make a quick summary, is Eman Gadzi recently said on a podcast he was in that he has multiple YouTube channels, and he has one for his lifestyle, for his vlogs, for his watches, for his business, for his entertainment, for his software company, blah blah blah. He has all these different channels that produce different types of content. Now, a beginner will look at this and think, okay, well, I need to do the exact same thing. I need to have a business channel, a lifestyle channel, a vlog channel, a cooking channel, a workout channel, a fucking yoga channel. They'll look at this and think, okay, I need to now have a channel for every area of my life. Well, again, the philosophy here is completely wrong, because the only reason that Eman can do stuff like this, and guys in his situation do a similar thing, creating multiple channels and having different niches on different channels, is because of the pre-built work that he'd already did and the millions and millions of fans that he had already drawn to one YouTube channel over like 10 years of work. That then can be transferred to lots of different channels, but the only reason he can spread it to different channels is because of that one channel that was so big in the first place. So without this big initial personal brand or this channel, then it's going to be very, very hard for you to branch out into different things, and you're going to be much better just focusing on one niche, one topic, one bit of value, and one avatar that you're going to solve a problem for. Now, the second mistake that I see a lot of beginner content creators make is metrics confusion. So there's two types of metric confusions. The first one is not tracking metrics at all, and the second one is tracking the wrong metrics. So let's cover the first one, which is not tracking metrics at all. If you want to scale, if you want to build a YouTube channel, a Twitter, a TikTok account, an Instagram account, you have to be tracking metrics. Now, the reason that we track metrics, which are basically just the statistics of what we're doing, is because when we track metrics, it allows us or consultants to find bottlenecks within the business or bottlenecks within growth. Now, a bottleneck is basically just, if you think about having like this long tube of pipe, and say, for example, we want water flowing all the way through this pipe, a bottleneck would be a kink in this pipe, or a part of this pipe where it goes too thin or is blocked by something that doesn't allow the water to fully flow through. This is something that I talk about in my $1 community, which you can check in the top link in the description. And it's very important to be able to identify these bottlenecks, because by finding these bottlenecks within your business pipeline, you can then solve the bottleneck and allow the flow of business to continue. And you solve one bottleneck, you can probably find another bottleneck in the future. Maybe if you solve this bottleneck, a different bottleneck appears, and it's all this complex system. But the philosophy here and the reality here is that unless you are tracking your metrics and the correct metrics, then you're not going to be able to identify these bottlenecks, you're not going to be able to see where you're going wrong, and you're not going to be able to grow at the rate that you want to grow at. Now, the second part of metrics confusion is for people who are actually tracking their metrics to find these bottlenecks. However, they're tracking the wrong metrics. So I'll see a lot of guys, they'll start a YouTube channel, and the things that they look at is stuff like views, likes, comments, subscribers, shares, dislikes, all these different metrics that YouTube shove in your face. When you go to the YouTube or Creator Studio, they'll show you 1 of 10 on views, or how many comments you had, how many likes you had, how many dislikes you had, blah, blah, blah. And people will track these metrics religiously, like their life depends on it. And they look at videos that have a lot of views and they'll think, they're pretty good videos, let me make more videos like this. However, a lot of guys have done research on this, and one of my mentors, Ed Lawrence, actually deep dived into this. And he noticed this strange correlation, this strange fact that the videos that got a less amount of views on his channel specifically, and on a couple of his clients' channels, the videos with less views actually had more sales, had more customers, and made him more money overall. And like I said at the intro, you're here because you want to make money, right? Not because you want to be famous, not because you want to pop off, not because you want to start a trend. No, we want to be making some serious fucking money online. And in order to do that, the metrics that we want to be tracking are the metrics that actually increase our profit, that actually directly go to the business metrics, rather than what I call in my $1 community, the vanity metrics of likes and subscribers and views. Because like Ed has already discussed on his channel and in his product, these metrics are just there for show. And a lot of the time they're actually very much misleading, meaning that the more views you get doesn't necessarily mean the more sales you get, and a lot of the time the more views you get, the less sales you get. And this is due to the quality of the viewers and the potential customer who's watching your video, how likely they are to become a customer. That's something that I described in a different video, but for now all you need to know is that a lot of the metrics that YouTube give you are simply vanity metrics, and the metrics you need to track are the actual business metrics, and that's something I describe in the $1 community, so check that out in the link in the description. Now, the third big mistake that I see a lot of startup entrepreneurs making, and even entrepreneurs who are, building this business online, is the way that they edit their videos. Now, they have this idea in mind that they want to be educating people rather than entertaining people, but their editing styles don't show that. They don't show in their video that they want to attract people who can be potential customers and potential clients. Instead, they make these, clickbaity or flashy or dopamine hitting videos that maybe get a lot of views, maybe get a lot of average view duration, and it feels good to them because of, like I mentioned in the previous point, the vanity metrics. But in reality, in order to get customers, your editing style needs to be a certain way. Now, if you want to know exactly how to edit your educational YouTube videos, then I made a full breakdown of me actually practically editing one of my educational videos, and you can find that video by clicking on screen right now.